Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's the appointed hour. I'd like to call to order the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust meeting of August 20th. And the first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the July 23rd meeting. They have been distributed to the trustees prior to this meeting. Are there any comments on the minutes? Corrections?
So approved.
A motion made to approve. A motion made and second to approve. Please cast your votes. And the minutes are approved. Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda, item 3, is to ratify the claims we've experienced this last month, and they've been in your packet. Are there any questions or comments on the claims? The vast majority of them deal with TIF projects, and then the last 4, I guess, are Mary Gardens, or next to last. And the 2 above it are Mary Garden expenses. Are there any questions or comments on the trust disbursements? Have a motion made to approve? Have a motion made and second. Any further discussion? Please cast your votes. And the claims are ratified. Thank you very much. Item 4 is items for individual consideration. And item A is a resolution regarding AT&T. And I understand they have the representative here.
Yes, David Battershell with AT&T is here to make a presentation about this item. If you recall, there was an announcement a few weeks ago that AT&T was going to be adding a new business unit here in Oklahoma City, and this item is related to that and authorizes the general manager to negotiate an economic development agreement. David?
Okay. Thank you all for inviting me today. Just briefly, I'm sure you all are aware, but just to kind of cover who we are. AT&T is a premier communication holdings company and one of the most honored companies in the world. Its subsidiaries and affiliates, AT&T operating companies, are providers of AT&T services in the United States and around the world. AT&T is the leading provider of wireless, Wi-Fi, high-speed internet, voice, and cloud-based services. We're a leader in mobile internet. AT&T offers the best wireless coverage worldwide of any U.S. carrier, offering the most wireless phones that work in the most countries. It offers advanced TV services under AT&T UVerse, AT&T DirecTV brands. AT&T's suites of IP-based business communication services is one of the most advanced in the world. Additional information about AT&T Incorporated, its products, services provided in subsidiaries and affiliates is available at www.att.com. Now, for AT&T in Oklahoma. AT&T employed 4,076 people working in Oklahoma as the first quarter of 2013. Our payroll represented more than $242 million in 2012. As of March 2013, we operate 33 company-owned retail locations in the state. In Building for Tomorrow, across the country, we're investing billions to build the advanced networks that will create jobs and fuel economic growth. From 2010 through 2012, AT&T invested more than $700 million in its Oklahoma wireless and wireline networks. We also offer our advanced internet protocol TV service, AT&T UVerse, in Oklahoma. As far as AT&T in Oklahoma supporting education, AT&T Aspire was launched nearly 6 years ago to combat America's high school dropout crisis to ensure students graduate prepared for the next chapter in their lives. In Oklahoma, $3,566,032 has been invested through the Aspire program. In Spending Where We Live, AT&T spent more than $150 million in goods and services purchased from suppliers based in Oklahoma in 2012. This spending supports jobs and economic activity in the state. Local support. In 2011, AT&T operations in Oklahoma generated more than $242 million in local and state taxes. These taxes are paid by AT&T or remitted on behalf of our employees and customers to help support vital programs. AT&T services in Oklahoma City. AT&T plans to add up to 140 jobs in Oklahoma City over the next 3 to 5 years. These jobs reflect a new business presence in Oklahoma City and are the result of AT&T creating a new centralized office hub of project managers. Positions will support small to medium businesses across customers across the United States as they implement AT&T business solutions and services. Hiring is underway, with 59 new project managers already working at company offices on Wireless Way in Oklahoma City. The new hires will receive 3 weeks training period, a 6-month period of on-the-job learning as they ramp up to full capacity. Project investment strategy. AT&T's priority number one is to build an effortless customer experience. Due to the value that project managers bring to the network implementation process, AT&T is investing in the expansion of this customer-facing position. The benefits of project management experience are multifaceted. Install services and meet customers' commitment dates more consistently, improve associated delivery cycle times, streamline communication and ownership, make complexities transparent to our customers. Ultimately, these benefits contribute to a higher level of customer satisfaction, which is our primary goal. Now, why Oklahoma City? AT&T considered a number of alternate locations for these jobs. Oklahoma City was chosen for the following reasons: friendly business climate, high quality of life, excellent local workforce, access to quality higher education institutions, low comparable cost of living business, and a broad range of financial tax incentive opportunities. I'll also share with you some numbers that are not on the presentation, that the average salaries as of year one, June of 2013 through May of 2014, will be $43,750. Year two and onward, June 2014 through May of 2015, is $44,450. These are staffing for the center manager, the area managers, and the associate project managers. This includes annual bonus dollars, which have been prorated for year one because of the new managers coming in the middle of the year and from different business units throughout the company. That's all I've got prepared.
Good. Thank you very much. Any questions? If not, thank you very much. We're glad to have you here in Oklahoma City.
Appreciate your time.
I move approval of the item.
A motion made and second to approve item 4A, which gives the staff the authority to negotiate a contract. Please cast your votes. And item 4 is approved. Thank you very much. Item 4B is a companion item. Just memorandum of agreement with the
4B is an item with Oklahoma County.
Okay, I'm sorry.
TIF 8.
I apologize, but these glasses don't work very well anymore.
It's an item to rehabilitate a sewer line at the Oklahoma County Jail, and this has been through the TIF Review Committee, and it's $1 million TIF allocation to rebuild the sewer line that's underneath the jail, and it'll be done on a reimbursement basis. We'll reimburse the county for as they expend the money, up to $1 million.
And this is all TIF money. Are there any questions? I have a motion made and second to approve item 4B, which is related to the county work under jail and has nothing to do with AT&T yet anymore. Please cast your votes, and the item is approved. Item 4C is a project related to downtown renovations.
Yeah, this is a Project 180 related item for packages 6 and 7 to waive consultant selection so that we can hire Cobb Engineering to take care of utility vault design. And Eric Winger, the Public Works Director, is here if you have more specific questions.
Just to clarify, the waiver is because this firm is intimately familiar with OG&E issues and they're
They
uniquely
worked on the other
qualified.
packages.
Yeah, I know them to be a good firm as well. I'd move the item.
I have a motion made and second to approve item 4C. Is there any further discussion? Please cast your votes, and item 4C is approved. Thank you very much. Item 4D is an agreement with a new customer, the 10th and Broadway PLC. Kathy, you want to tell us about this? This is a little more complicated.
This project is an economic development agreement to provide funding to assist with the development of a parking garage at Northwest 10th and Broadway. It's been to the TIF Review Committee. You've probably seen it mentioned in other presentations that we've done about TIF allocations. It is to support the development by Midtown Renaissance of 1100 and 1101 North Broadway and the Marion Hotel that's on Northwest 10th Street. The assistance is to be provided in the form of a loan, which is a little bit different approach for us, but because of the nature of this project, we felt that that was the best way for us to provide the assistance and actually get some return from our help. Part of it's a loan and part of it is a regular TIF grant.
And what provisions is it in the contract to repay the loan?
Well, and there's a mortgage against the parking facility, too, that secures the loan.
The loan will be a 20-year loan that will be secured by a mortgage on the property. It'll also provide us the parent or the principal of the corporation will also provide a guarantee, a personal guarantee on the loan itself, and we'll have a floating rate on the loan, and they'll pay interest during construction. And the interest rate will start out at 1.5%, and it'll adjust up to, could potentially be up to 3%, so over the time or life of the loan.
Any questions on this project?
I do. It's a $1 million low-interest,
Yes, sir.
non-forgivable, and a $2 million development incentive you described?
Yes, sir.
And how is that related in proportion to the overall project cost?
The $2 million, the overall, the $2 million is a little over 10, it's over 10%, because they'll actually have to guarantee a $16 million value for the three properties, and then that's essentially it.
Okay. Thank you.
Larry, do you have a question? Well, the chair would entertain a motion to approve. A motion made and second to approve this item, item 4D. Are there any questions or comments? Please cast your votes. And the item is approved. Thank you very much. Item 4E is another presentation, this time from our new neighbors, the Boeing.
Mr. Chairman, member of the Trust, thank you very much. I'm Steve Hendrickson with the Boeing Company and appreciate the opportunity to give you a brief update on our participation in the SIP program. The next slide will show you, basically to refresh your memory, we have two projects active with you right now. First one is relating to our Long Beach transition, up to 285 new folks. And the interest that I'll show you in a chart here, there's 776 employees that were in our baseline that were here prior to this project being implemented. And I'm here today to offer some detail for you to make sure that you understand that those folks are not included in the current claims that we're filing. So next chart, please. And the second project is relating to our Wichita transition, up to 800 jobs. Over a baseline of 865. And since we are an engineering company, I come armed with a graph, which would be the next slide, and in this case it actually kind of makes a bit of sense. In aerospace we typically don't say good morning without graphs, but in this one it actually does make sense. If you look at the gray area on that graph, that was our employment base prior to announcing either of the two projects. The blue area above the gray area is our first project. And as you can see, that Project 1 baseline, we have maintained that employment level and significantly increased it, in fact, have exceeded what we agreed that we would do. The Project 2 is the darker line up on the top of that. And in fact, at the end of June, we topped out at about 1,600 employees, and we are continuing to hire as we speak. So we do submit for your consideration the fact that we have met our employment targets. The next chart is just a kind of, if you don't like graphs, there it is in a table, primarily just to try to show you that we do in fact have this information down to the employee name, so we're doing everything that we possibly can to make sure that you understand that we are complying with everything that we obligated ourselves to do, and in fact are creating the jobs that we promised. The next slide will show you that our first project obligation was that we'd spend $5.1 million. Much to the chagrin of our management, we were going to blow past that, so we'll actually exceed that capital investment. Same with Project 2. We've obligated that we will spend $20 million. We're about 70% done with that, and we're continuing to spend, and we will definitely meet that project target as well. The next slide will show you, on our Project 1, we basically have got 2 years' worth of pending claims for consideration. In Project 2, we've got just the beginnings of 1 year of pending claims for your consideration. And your project manager, who's sitting in back of me, is watching us like a hawk, and we watch ourselves like a hawk. In fact, before we even submit these claims to the city, it's audited by the Defense Contract Audit Agency, so we audit ourselves. We are audited by the government before we give it to you to audit. So that's how we work our process. The next slide basically just kind of gives you in summary form where we are with both projects in regard to the claims that we have filed, are in the process of filing, and hope to file in the future. And if it would please the trust, I would like to offer answers to the 2 most commonly asked questions that we get about incentive participation. The first one is, do these incentives really make a difference in work placement? And I would be happy to share with you that, in fact, I was on these projects long before our employees ever knew about them, and I know firsthand and can tell you that the dollars that are in these incentives and the other incentives offered by the state were factored into the business case analysis that at the end of the day favorably tipped the scale to Oklahoma City. So it absolutely does impact the business case analysis for these kinds of decisions. The second question that we get quite a bit is, what do you do when you get those incentives? Once you've earned the incentive and you apply for it, what exactly do you do with it? How is it applied in your business? And I can tell you that when we move people from one state to another, from California or from Kansas, as we're doing, the biggest bulk of that cost is incurred, and it's booked in general and administrative expenses. And under normal circumstances, absent any incentive payments, what would happen is we would end up charging our customers more for our products and services. In this case, our customers are the Department of Defense folks at Tinker Air Force Base. Because of the incentives, what we do is we actually abate our G&A rate, or we offset our G&A expenses to help mitigate the cost of moving people here, which means we actually are reducing the cost that we actually bill our Department of Defense customers as a result of these incentives. I'd be happy to answer any questions of the trust.
Yeah, Larry?
Can you go back a couple of slides where you had the not that one. Right there, okay. The next one, I think. You showed 91 on Project 1 for the first year and 222 for the second year. I think I can do this from memory. Okay. What those 2 figures represented was 91 were the jobs over your base.
Yes.
That were added and met the criteria during that first year.
Yes.
And then the second year, you actually had 222 employees who met the criteria.
Correct.
And you had the same statistics from Wichita. The folks from Wichita are also beginning to get on the payroll down here.
Correct.
And they were just in there for that 1 year.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Certainly.
Other questions? Approximately, if you can tell me, how many employees does Boeing have in the Oklahoma City area now?
We are close to 1,700. We anticipate we will have about 1,800 by the end of the year.
And is that a total, or will you continue to bring some people in?
Never say it's the total. It's the total that we know of right now.
And depending on your customer, why you may bring more in there.
Exactly, depending on our customer requirements and depending on, yes, exactly, how our work is moving from site to site.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
Okay. Oklahoma City, item F is the Oklahoma City Economic Development Foundation report. Mike, are you going to give that? Kurt, okay, we got it. The head man's here.
Some of this you received electronically, but I thought, at least for the meeting time, it might be helpful to peek at some of that in color and keep one just in case someone has a question about that.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity, as we often get to do, to spend a few minutes with you to give you a quick update. Today we're here to present the end-of-the-year snapshot for our most recent fiscal year, working alongside you through our grant, through our contract. And it's nice to follow two of our mutual customers that we've gotten to spend time working on together. I love to hear the numbers, but I always have to be reminded, and I enjoy talking with our staff about the fact that those numbers are actually people that may be our neighbors, they may be someone in the carpool line, they may be someone that's sitting in the pew behind us at church, or someone at a baseball game is there because of the work you all have done and the work we get to do to grow our city and our region. So it's always nice to hear good stories about that and about how people are doing. The year ended very strong. I felt that we ended up, the last few months were quite different than the first few months of the year. Some of that sort of national issues that I've talked to you about before. We had a very quiet period in the fall. Sometimes it's easy to catch back up from that. Sometimes it's not. If you flip to, I think it's tab B in that report, and I'm going to try to come up with a more interesting way to describe this stuff in the coming year. But if you go to the table that looks like this, it's horizontal, just to give you some of the bottom line results. The work we did together, finishing up the 4 quarters, the companies we supported and worked with created over 4,100 jobs. The average payroll for those jobs during that cumulative period was just over $43,000, which is more than 15% above our average that we set back a couple years ago. The capital investment goal was $180 million. We hit over $450 million. Again, that's a great sign that companies are feeling very positive and confident to invest their dollars in our market. The one place where we fell a little short was on our estimated total tax revenues to the city during that snapshot. And we hit almost literally $9 million. We were $3,000 less than $9 million based on our calculations through the models. Our goal was 10. To give you a sense from last year, to get a sense of how that compares, last year we ended the year with just over 4,100 jobs. Excuse me, that's the same numbers here. Just over 4,300 jobs, so only about 200 jobs different than this year's numbers. Our average wage in that case was almost $56,000, so we saw a little bit higher average wage last year than this year. The capital investment was about the same, was within about $4,000 or $5,000 million over last year. And then we hit about almost $11 million in tax revenue. So it gives you a sense that while we had a very slow period, I think the year ended up pretty strong for the community, and that's very positive. We have great traction in the retail sector that we continue to work with Kathy and Brent and the team on. Jessica's done a real fabulous job, and we appreciate the city and trust's efforts to help bring more retail opportunities and the dollars that come with those. We are seeing very strong visit activity right now, and a lot of good inquiries from quality companies through quality consultants. So we believe we're going to hit the current year very, very strong. And that's sort of a quick snapshot. I wanted to show you one of the tools that is created by our team. We can write about it, and we list all the different ads and the different stories that get written and all that, but I wanted to show you a tool that I'm very proud of, that I don't know another community in the country that's doing something as cutting edge as this. There may be some, but I've not seen any. And this is our Velocity publication, which is both, it's a web-based tool, and we also, in your packet is a hard copy of it, along with the retail flyer we took to ICSC,
and then also our bio piece that we do with partners to sell the biotech sector in there. But Velocity is not only a newsletter or hard copy, it's an interactive web magazine. And I've got, you can see this probably, this is our most recent issue. We call it the green issue, and it has some really great stories. And there we go. This is not just a cool-looking magazine. It's actually has embedded video. Let's see if I can get this to. Okay. Let's go another couple of pages, and we'll click on one of the videos so we can show them how that works. This is something we send out to audiences around the country. It can be also viewed online. One more, this is a great story about the Devon Tower and all the details about how it got its superior rating for energy efficiency and all. One more page, and I think there should be if you'll click on up at the top right, you'll see a box with the picture of Larry Nichols. That's actually embedded video. If you'll click on that, I don't know if we can hear it.
We've prospered quite well here in Oklahoma City, which is an exciting place to be. If Oklahoma City had remained the way it was back in the early 90s, we wouldn't be here because we could not entice the people to come here. Now, because of the growth in Oklahoma City, it is easy for us to get a serious audience from people anywhere in the United States who may not be familiar with the city, who come, who look around and say, yes, not only is it a vibrant city, it's a great place to raise a family.
So if a picture's worth 1,000 words, what's a speaking picture?
One of the exciting things about the oil and gas industry is periodically we have breakthrough technology that opens up new horizons that we never dreamed of before. This has happened.
Flip to the next page. There you go. So this is an experience that someone can actually not only, when you get to meet Larry, if you're visiting, you get to hear his story and the story that he shares about Oklahoma City. But this then can get to a much wider audience that we can actually share Larry's story and Larry's thoughts along with those of other people. So I hope you'll take a chance to look through this. Back issues are on our web channel called greaterokc.tv, and these are archived there so that people can see these. I think the city gets a lot of leverage out of this, and it really shows us as, I think, a cutting-edge community, which I believe truly that we are. So we appreciate that opportunity. These are done regularly along with a lot of our other publications and our pieces, and we appreciate the opportunity to help you tell the story and bring projects to you like AT&T and Boeing. Any questions I can answer?
Questions? It's a great report.
Thank you. I hope you get to meet some of the people who have gotten those jobs because they're very talented. Thank you for letting us present.
Larry?
Quick question. Is this report going to be presented to the council also or not?
This is my first end of the year. I've been here 11 months, so I'd be happy to do that. If you'd like me to present to the council, I can certainly do something if that's something you all want.
Roy usually comes and makes a presentation once a quarter to the council, I
Not
believe.
with this material right here. I think this material is what I'm interested in.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
care
we
who
can-
does it, but I think the council and the public that watches the council meetings would be very interested and should hear this.
Absolutely. And these are all available to the public anytime, so I think that we'd be happy to do it however we can.
Yep.
Thank you.
Make that happen.
Thank you very much, Kurt. Next item on our agenda is the general manager report. It's been distributed to the trustees earlier. Are there any questions or comments? Kathy?
I have the Alliance year-end report.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's there. It sure is.
Just a brief overview of the Alliance activities through the end of the year. We had a very busy year this past year, helping to implement projects on behalf of the city and the chamber and all of the other trusts that we work with and manage. Some of the things that I just wanted to hit on, I've been trying to organize this so it has kind of an executive summary so we don't have to go through all the detail while we're talking here. But some of the things that we've been very involved in over the past year include MAPS 3, working with the city on looking at the broader picture on some of the development of the MAPS 3 projects and how private investment can be leveraged through those significant public investments. We're in the process of preparing a plan that identifies what would be catalyst development sites, a market study, and other information and tools that we can use to market the Core to Shore area in particular and help to get developers interested in developing near the new park and the convention center and along the streetcar route. Some of the other things that we've worked on include, obviously, are job creation. Some of those things you've heard about today, but some others that we've been involved in include working on presentations for the GE Global Research Project, working with I2E on the Grow OKC program. We've had lots of site visits and visits from companies and consultants over the past year. Just as a summary on the SIP program, at year end we had done 5 SIP program deals, allocated $6.765 million in incentives for 1,860 jobs, so we had a pretty good year. TIF allocations, we've seen a lot of interest in downtown development in the past year, and it's picked up pretty significantly. Still a lot of interest in residential development, but now we're beginning to see commercial projects come forward. So kind of a nice transition and a nice, I think, a good sign that we're getting the critical mass and people living downtown, that now there's some commercial projects. We worked on the Quiet Zone funding plan. I think we've had presentations and discussions about that in the past. The Midtown parking garage that you just heard about, and lots of other smaller projects that have all come before the trust. In all, there were 11 deals. We allocated $14.85 million for $104.5 million in private investment. So, again, a busy year for TIF allocations. Retail, we've had I think a really good year for retail. We enjoy working with Jessica at the Chamber, and I think had a really good ICSC show in Las Vegas this past May. I think we had 32 meetings in 2 days. So some of the meetings are very short, but you get to walk a lot in that Las Vegas Convention Center. We've been helping the city look at the development of a Northeast grocery store, working on citywide grocery issues and doing a citywide grocery study, and just overall retail development in general. Obviously, the Von Maur project that you all approved in the past is one of those as well. On downtown development, some of the other things that we've been involved in, one of the trusts that we manage owns the Journal Record building. That is, we own 2/3 of the Journal Record building. The other third is owned by the Memorial Foundation, and it's where the Memorial Museum is. So we've been trying to find a developer who would be interested in purchasing the remainder of the building and redeveloping it, and we've been working with a group for the past 6 months or so, trying to develop a pro forma and a plan for them to purchase that building. We updated through the Urban Renewal Authority. We worked on the Midtown Urban Renewal Plan, updating what was once called the North Downtown Urban Renewal Plan, and looking at some new development concepts for Midtown, and trying to make sure that we have some of the tools and recommendations in place so that the city and urban renewal can work together to continue private investment in the Midtown area. And I think that is about it. I can go through the specifics. Just one more thing I wanted to talk about is for the current year, and really beginning in January, we began to transition some of the staffing that was associated with the other entities that we manage. So, for example, OIA had a staff person. The Urban Renewal Authority has probably 11 staff people. As positions have become vacant, or as we began a new calendar year, we've transitioned some of those employees into the Alliance. These are employees that have been a part of those other organizations for a very long time, but the original plan with the Alliance was to transition those employees into the Alliance as almost like a management consulting firm. So we've added one employee from the Oklahoma Industries Authority and 2 vacant positions from the Urban Renewal Authority. We've changed those positions. We've done some reorganization. One of the positions was to hire a chief financial officer, and Jerry Kenfield is here today. She's our new CFO. And then we eliminated a secretarial position and replaced it with a receptionist-type position. So we are making some changes and working through some of the administrative details that are, sometimes I have to remind myself that this is a startup, even though I feel like I've been doing economic development work for the city for a long time. So it was a little bit of a year of transition for some of our administrative functions, but that's my report.
Are there any questions, Kathy? Want to say anything about the garage across the street?
That's one of the projects we helped with, was the garage across the street.
It's got some of the biggest cranes I've ever seen in Oklahoma City. So.
Yeah, we have an ongoing interest in working on parking for downtown. So we continue to talk with developers and try to get some private developers interested in building parking themselves, and obviously work with COCPA as well to identify sites where we might be able to provide parking in the future.
Any other questions? Kathy, thank you very much. And now we can have the general manager's reports. Greg, anything you want to say specifically about those? Are there any questions? Okay, the next item are comments from the staff. Comments from the public. Comments from our trustees. Thank you. Hearing no other comments or questions, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. Some of those numbers are amazing. Construction, capital investment.